People sometimes ask, doesn't it get to you, or didn't it get to you? Didn't it bother you? The truth is, yes, it does. 911 professionals carry those voices with them long after the call ends. The ones who said thank you, the ones who didn't make it, the ones who never spoke at all. But in every headset, in every dispatch center, there's a kind of shared resilience, a belief that their calm can ripple outward and change an outcome. These aren't superheroes or superhumans. They're just regular people doing superhuman things, usually pretty quietly.
Fire, flood, blizzards, tornadoes, blackouts, earthquakes, wildfires, hurricanes. When disaster strikes, it's not up to luck. It's up to you. You can't predict the next emergency, but you can prepare for it. Keep your family and yourself safe when everything else falls apart. At the Sapper Company, we build mission-ready survival kits and first aid kits for every situation. From one-person essentials to 10-person family and team kits. From one-day outages to weeks off the grid. Don't get caught unprepared. Visit sappercompany.com today and be mission ready, because when the time comes, readiness is everything.
Hello and welcome back to the EOC Podcast, Emergency Operations Conversations. My name is Jeff Perkins, and I'm very happy to have you with me again as we unpack something very near and dear to my heart, which is 911. I started my career as a 911 dispatcher. I know a lot of people still in the industry that have been able to make good careers out of it. But a lot of the public, when I talk to friends of mine that don't work in public safety, don't really understand how 911 works. You think you just call and help arrives, but there is a lot that happens behind the scenes, and today's episode is to address just that. It's to show the story behind 911, the people behind the headsets, and the people behind the lights and sirens that are coming to help you on your worst day. So sit back, relax, and let's begin a story about 911. Now think for a moment, have you ever heard the sound of pure fear? Now it's not a scream, it's not chaos, it's the silence. It's the silence that lasts about a half a second right before someone dials 911. Now in that half a second, 1,000 thoughts race through their mind. Where am I located? Can they actually help me? What if nobody answers? For most of us, 911 is a number we never want to use. It's the background hum of safety. It's the silent assurance that somewhere, someone is ready. But for others, all takers, dispatchers, first responders, that number is the thread that ties chaos back to calm. So today we're going to explore why 911 really matters. Not as a system or a technological network, but as a lifeline. We'll see it through two perspectives: the call maker to the call taker, and the call taker to the first responder. Now, this is a story of connection, trust, and humanity told through the language of urgency. So every child learns it early. I know I did. My parents taught me. If there is an emergency, dial 911. 3 numbers, short enough to memorize, but powerful enough to save a life. But few of us think about what happens after we press call. Behind that simple act sits an invisible web of people, human beings, and systems and decisions, each one designed to make seconds count. And yet 911 isn't magic. Like I said, 911 is people with headsets, keyboards, and hearts that beat just a little faster than most when that line rings. So imagine it. You're sitting at home, it's a quiet evening, maybe the smell of dinner hangs in the air, then something goes wrong. A crash, a gasp, a sudden silence. Your hand moves before your mind catches up. The phone trembling as you press the digits, 911, where is your emergency? That's not just a phrase. It's the voice of calm, meeting chaos. Those words are designed, tested, trained, and refined to cut through panic like a lighthouse beam through the fog on the coast, because on the other side of that line, there is a professional whose first job is not to act, but to listen. To the call taker, every ring is a story still being written. They never know what they'll hear when they answer. Some calls begin with words, others begin with silence, maybe a child whispering because danger's in the next room, maybe an elderly man trying to remember his address, but he just can't recall it, or maybe a mother who can't form the words because her baby isn't breathing. And yet, despite the chaos, call takers listen between the lines. They hear what others can't, the breath patterns that hint at possible smoke inhalation, the tone shifts that can reveal escalating dangers, the muffled background noise that tells them this is not just an open line 911, probably a fight. They type while they talk, balancing empathy with efficiency, and every word they enter into that CAD screen becomes the eyes and ears for the first responders racing toward the unknown. But here's the thing most people never realize. A call taker's tools are simple: their voice, their patience, and their precision. Now, they might not see the scene, they can't smell the smoke, but they build a picture from the fragments and trust that it's enough to save a life. That's an extraordinary kind of faith to have in someone you don't know and have only called you because of your job. In the flow of an emergency, 911 sits between two worlds. On one side, the caller, desperate, afraid. On the other, the responders, trained and ready, but dependent on the information. And in the middle, balancing emotion and logic, is the dispatcher. It's their job to translate human fear into tactical clarity, to turn "I think he's hurt" into "there's a male in his mid-40s, unresponsive with CPR in progress." That transition happens in real time through tears, screams, and confusion. It's the bridge that transforms panic into action. If communication is oxygen for response, then dispatch is the lung. It pulls in chaos and breathes out order. So let's step into two stories, fictional composites drawn from hundreds just like them. So story one will be the caller to the call taker. A teenage boy calls 911. His father collapsed during dinner. Boy's voice cracks. His words tumble out, half sob, half sentence. The call taker's voice is calm, steady, measured, professional. Take a deep breath and tell me what's happening. He follows instructions, his shaking hands pressing on his father's chest. The dispatcher counts with him, steady, rhythmic. Keep going, you're doing great. The boy can hear sirens faint in the distance, but approaching quickly. By the time responders arrive, the dispatcher's voice has become his anchor. He never learns their name, but he'll never forget their words. Now let's move to story two, the call taker to the first responder. Now picture this, seasoned dispatcher. The console glows with open calls, burglary alarm, vehicle crash, structure fire. They're all up there. Then a new alert flashes red. They key up the mic. Engine 3, medic 1, respond. As they talk, they already know, thinking 6 steps ahead, traffic patterns, mutual aid, available units, the weather that might ground the helicopter. They've seen it all before. They're the conductor of a life-saving orchestra, and they know how to command that orchestra. Every voice on the radio trusts their tempo. When it's over, when the patient's on the way, the radio quiet again, they exhale and reset because they know another call is going to come. And each time that they key that mic, somebody's life is about to change. People sometimes ask, doesn't it get to you? Or didn't it get to you? Didn't it bother you? The truth is, yes, it does. 911 professionals carry those voices with them long after the call ends. The ones who said thank you, the ones who didn't make it, the ones who never spoke at all. But in every headset, in every dispatch center, there's a kind of shared resilience, a belief that their calm can ripple outward and change an outcome. These aren't superheroes or superhumans. They're just regular people doing superhuman things, usually pretty quietly. They don't all wear badges that the public can see. Their heroism is measured in seconds saved, not headlines written. And when their shift ends, they go home to families who never really know what they heard that day. They turn off their radios, but the echoes remain. That's the unseen cost of caring deeply in a world that calls you only on their worst day. See, when you dial 911, you're not just calling a building, you're connecting to a person. someone trained to make the impossible feel manageable. Trust is built in milliseconds. From the first hello, the caller decides, do I believe this voice? Can they really help me? And for the call takers, that trust is sacred. They work in a world where technology changes, systems evolve, and protocols update. But the human voice remains the most powerful tool. They learn to speak calm into chaos, authority into confusion, compassion into fear. And when they connect that call to the responder, that trust transfers. Responder to dispatcher, dispatcher to caller, a circuit of humanity. This is what makes 911 so extraordinary. It's not just the infrastructure, it's the invisible empathy scaled to a national system. Now, I will admit, in dispatch for the several years that I did it, not every call is tragic. Sometimes humor sneaks in, uninvited, but necessary. Caller once dialed 911 because they locked themselves in their car. That's pretty funny. You know that it's not life-threatening. You know that you can send help, and it's kind of funny. The dispatcher, patient as ever, asked, is the engine running? Yes. Then the door is unlocked. Try the handle. Pause. Click. Thank you. Moments like that remind us people don't always call because they're hurt. Sometimes they call because they're human, and that's okay. And it's okay to laugh. Humor is the quiet pressure release valve that keeps dispatch centers functioning. And I will say, not all the humor is appropriate for most workplaces. And it's not about making light of emergencies or people's non-emergencies. It's about surviving the emotional weight of carrying other people's worst days. Because laughter, like radio traffic, can clear the air. Now, the world of emergency communications is changing rapidly. What began in the 1960s as landline calls are now including text messages, photos, and even videos, and real-time location sharing. But the mission has not changed. Get help where it's needed fast. Now, technology is just a tool. Humanity, new challenges emerge. Cybersecurity, staffing, book understanding, resilience. But through it all, one truth will always remain. People depend on 911 even when they don't understand how it works. That's why the outreach, education, and empathy all matter. Every citizen should know that 911 is for emergencies, but also that no one will ever shame you for being afraid when you call, because that call connects you to someone whose only mission is to keep you safe. There's a moment after each emergency ends, a deep, resonant silence. The radio's quiet, tones have all stopped, and in that stillness, every dispatcher, every responder takes a breath. That breath is sacred. It's the body's way of saying, you made it through. It's also a reminder that behind every call, behind every voice, are humans living their own lives, ready to pick up the headset again tomorrow. Silence isn't the absence of communication. Silence is the proof. That silence is the proof that communication worked. When I personally think about why 911 matters, I don't think about the technology, the radios, or the protocols. I think about the people, and I think about the moments someone finds the courage to call. The moment a dispatcher's calm slows a racing heartbeat. The moment a responder hears CPR in progress. Good job. Keep going. The moment a life is saved because people trusted one another over the phone. 911 is not a system. 911 is not technology. That's part of it. But 911 is a promise that no one faces their worst day alone. If you've ever called 911, you've heard that promise. If you've ever answered 911, you've kept that promise. So today, when you hear a siren in the distance or see a dispatcher's light glowing in a window, take a moment to appreciate what that means. It means connection. It means courage. It means community. Because behind every emergency, behind every radio transmission, behind every calm voice saying, help is on the way, there is a person who chose to care. That is why 911 matters. Because when the phone rings, humanity answers. Now I want to thank you for listening to the EOC Podcast Emergency Operations Conversations. I know this isn't a normal episode, but if this story moved you, I ask you to share it with someone who may not know what happens behind those three numbers. And to every call taker, dispatcher, and first responder out there, thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for answering the call because it matters. You matter. I want to thank you for listening to this episode of the EOC Podcast Emergency Operations Conversations. I also want to thank our new sponsors that are coming in and spreading the word. I really appreciate it. Please share, get the word out there, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you very much. As we close this episode, I want to take a moment to dedicate this episode to someone whose leadership and kindness defined what it means to serve in this profession. Cheryl Bledsoe. Cheryl was the director of Clackamas County 911 Communications, or CCOM, here in Oregon, but her impact reached far beyond just that title. She was a mentor, a collaborator, and one of the brightest lights in Oregon's public safety community. For decades, Cheryl dedicated her career to strengthening 911 systems, building resilient teams, and reminding all of us that behind every console, behind every policy, and every plan are people who care deeply about the work that they do and the communities they serve. Cheryl had a gift for connection, whether she was leading a room full of professionals, encouraging a young dispatcher to take the next step in their career, or simply sharing an idea that would make things just a little better for everyone. She did it with humility, with humor, and with heart. She believed that good leadership wasn't just about authority, it was about inspiration. It was about giving people the confidence to lead in their own way, to be calm in the chaos and courageous in the quiet, moments that define this field. Those of us who had the privilege of working alongside Cheryl know how rare that kind of spirit is. Her dedication built systems that save lives every single day, but more importantly, it built people who believe in service. So as I close this episode, I want to honor Cheryl's life and her legacy, a reminder that the heartbeat of 911 has always been its people. To her family, her friends, and her colleagues at CCOM, my thoughts, my gratitude, and my respect are with you. This episode, Why 911 Matters, is for Cheryl, for her leadership, her compassion, and the example she left for all of us who continue the work that she loved. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for everything.